Duggar Baucom is headed into his 4th season as the head men's basketball coach here at the Citadel. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down one-on-one with the coach, and be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores, and listen to this interview later on iHeartRadio. Coach Duggar, it's so good to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
I appreciate it greatly. So here we sit at the Citadel Athletic Offices in downtown Charleston. I know that you're heading into your 4th season.
Yes.
What is it like to be you these days?
Busy guy right now, probably. A lot of practice, a lot of preparation. Spend a lot of time with the team. Just getting ready for scrimmage this week.
Right.
And then we'll have an exhibition a week later. And then November 6th we'll be at Clemson, so it's on at that point.
Sure. I want to go back because I know you told Kevin Billady with Wi-Fi News this recently. You said this quote: "The bright spot was our younger guys. Our 2 freshmen both played really well, as did some of our sophomores." Can you describe to me the team this year?
Yeah, we actually made an addition of 2 graduate transfers, which is, I think will be very beneficial for us. They bring 4 years of experience in other programs, so I think they'll help our new guys. We have 2 freshmen, so they'll help them grow, but they'll also help our other guys who have played for us the entire time.
Right.
Have 3 seniors, 3 true seniors. So those guys can talk to them in the locker room about what they've been through and the whole transfer process. They've already graduated from college, so they play for other teams, play for other staffs, and they played a lot slower than we play. So they tell them oftentimes how lucky they are to play in the up tempo that we play. And so it's been really good. It's been a good blend for us with some maturity, and our young guys are coming around. And it's certainly tough being a freshman at the Citadel because of all the other things they have to go through. So it's been a learning process for those guys, but also a lot of help from the upperclassmen.
And you also said this too, quote: "We have an old adage: the harder you play, the more you're going to play." Tell me, how hard are you working, and how hard are you going to help them work?
Yeah. Well, my staff works very hard. Along with just being on the court, we're in the middle of recruiting season. So we have, recruiting phone calls, recruiting visits, watching film on recruits, not just on opponents, and trying to see. We have to do so much background on kids here that'll fit our culture of the program, but also the culture of the school. So myself and my staff, we work pretty hard, but we push the kids a lot on the court too. Really try to have them have intensity, bring intensity, whether it's an individual workout, whether it's a team workout. Communication's huge for us. Always try to have them talking, and in some capacity have them moving. Because basketball is a very fluid game. Not a lot of standing around, especially the way we play. So, just try to get them. Our whole goal is to try to get them comfortable being uncomfortable.
As a matter of fact, you said this ironically, you said this too: we got the first day jitters out of our system, and we now have 42 days to straighten some things out and get ready for our first game. Tell me, what are those things you still have to straighten out?
Yeah, it's still just playing together, and everybody, we've kind of defined roles, what guys are supposed to do, and what we need from them to be successful individually, and hopefully the cumulative effect is we'll be a better team because of that. Sometimes guys get out of the roles, and we'll have to make corrections as coaches. And the Golden State Warriors are the greatest example of success, of a selfless culture. Those guys don't care who scores, as long as somebody scores, and everybody's going to guard. And if we'll have a similar mentality, when the Spurs are going through their heyday, exact same thing. A lot of unselfishness. The Patriots through there, football. I think the Patriots have a sign: "You're going to change because we're not." The Patriots are going to be the Patriots. They're not going to change for you. And kind of the same deal here. We're going to establish our culture, which we have. And we just need guys to fit in, buy in, and just make slight corrections within that system.
You mentioned Clemson earlier, and I know that obviously you're going to play a couple of other schools and universities. When you look at that calendar, what is that one school that's on your mind every day?
I got a lot of them on my mind. The 9 teams in the conference are on my mind most, I would think. You play a pre-conference schedule, and that allows you to play some big-time schools like Clemson, Texas, and South Florida. And then we'll play some non-D1s, some schools that aren't quite as resource as well as we are, and then you play a lot of parallel conference teams. So in the makeup of that, that's 11 games, and that's kind of the precursor for going into conference play. But those 18 conference games are what matter the most, and I think that's where all coaches are judged, how well they do in the conference. And all coaches think they play in the toughest conference. But yeah, those 9 games, we play them all twice, one home, one away. But our guys, our coaches, we divide up scouting reports. So our coaches are already working on their scouts from last year and trying to prepare for the new guys the teams have. But yeah, it's those are the ones that worry us the most, probably.
And when you fast forward to the end of the season, what do you want the headline to be about the Citadel basketball team?
Oh, in a perfect world, Citadel makes their first NCAA tournament. But we got a lot of work to do before that. When that day comes, it's not an if, it's when. I think it's going to be monumental. It'll be historic. Citadel's only had 2 21 seasons in 100 years of playing basketball.
Wow.
So, it's been, the tradition here has been pretty bare. I think everybody will agree with that. So it's our job now to come in and create some tradition. And that was part of the challenge of coming to the job 4 years ago now. But in a perfect world, we could get through the tournament. Our league, you just got to be, you need to be good during the regular season, but we're a one big league, so it comes down to being great 3 days in March. And if you can do that, and you got to have some breaks and got to get lucky, but if you can do that, it'd be nothing like cutting down the nets in Asheville,
right? Because
that would mean you would be playing the next week in the NCAA tournament, which is every kid's goal when they grow up, and every coach's goal. I've been in 3 of those games where if you win, you move on. And my staff and I, we've lost. A couple of my staff played for me in those games. Several of them have coached with me in those games. And the only difference is we were always playing on the home team, on the opponent's home court. In Asheville, that's not the case. You're on a neutral court. And so your chances are a lot better if you can make it to the championship game and get through it. So that's the ultimate goal.
4 years ago to right now, what is the biggest difference about your job as head coach?
I think I've been in military school for 10 years at VMI, so it wasn't quite the culture shock for me that it would be for a lot of coaches coming into this unique environment when you have the military component along with academics. So I think my learning curve was smaller, but still totally different. School, our recruiting base is a little different. Of course, tradition at VMI we were winning, so we've had to take our lumps here for a few years and try to establish our culture. When I left VMI, we had just beat Citadel 3 times that year, and so I'm inheriting. They lost their top 4 players, so I inherit the team that didn't, try to help those guys win, and we won 10 games, and I was proud of that. That's probably as many as that team was going to win, but. And just building upon that day after day, just getting a little bit better. And if you do the right things and you have the right processes in place and you worry about the process a lot more than you worry about the result, I think good things can happen.
Coach Duggar Baucom, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
All right, it's been awesome. Thanks.
Likewise.